Welcome to MCN's middleweight touring test, where we've taken 3 of the sportier middleweight tourers to see which one of them makes the best account for itself as an affordable and manageable option for touring and just general everyday riding. So stick with us as we work through these 3 options and see which one comes out on top. So recently there's been a bit of a shift right across the marketplace with people moving towards more manageable and affordable motorcycles, and that's starting to become really apparent in the touring sector. Having a big bulky bike, whether it's a rugged adventure machine or mile-munching tourer, can be really hard work. And when you're splashing out something like 20 grand on a big bike like that only really goes on an adventure maybe 4 or 5 times a year, can feel a bit excessive. But for around half that, you could have one of these machines here, which are more practical, more manageable, and most importantly, more affordable. They're still going to be just as much fun, but they're going to put much less of a dent in your bank balance. We've chosen the 3 bikes that we think are most representative of this sector, both in terms of engine size and price point. If you're looking for a mid-sized, mid-priced sporty tool-rounder that can tour, it's likely you'll have at least one of these on your list. First up, the Suzuki V-Strom 800RE, introduced in 2024 and currently with a list price of £9,699. It's powered by a 776cc parallel twin, making 83 horsepower and 57 foot-pound of torque, and it tips the scales at 223 kilos. Then we've got the Triumph Tiger Sport 660, which has been around since 2022, but for this year boasts a technical boost to electronics and rider aids. Its 660cc inline triple pushes out 80 horsepower and 47 foot-pound of torque. It weighs in at 207 kilos and at £8,995 is the most affordable here. Our final contender is the new for 2025 Yamaha Tracer 7 GT, which tops out the group with a price tag of £10,104. The Tracer weighs 212 kilos and its 689cc parallel twin produces 72 horsepower and 50 foot-pound of torque. So that's how they all look on paper. Now let's get down to the fun stuff and see how they actually ride, starting with the V-Strom. The V-Strom has the biggest engine of the bunch, and as a result it packs the biggest punch. Off the throttle it gives you power almost straight away. It's got plenty of torque, plenty of tractability, and it really is quite an enjoyable engine to get the most out of. It's got 3 different throttle maps, plus it's got 3-stage traction control as well, so you can choose variants between the 2 that suit your riding style. It's also got an up-down quick shifter, and that's great for when you're cracking on through the gears, but also if you've got a passenger or if you've got luggage, it keeps your gear changes that much smoother because you're not having to mess around with the clutch, balancing that between your shifts. So the quick shifter combined with a more powerful engine actually makes the V-Strom a real pleasure to push on. It's not all good news though, because it does vibrate quite a bit, and as you get further up the rev range that starts to become quite annoying. Around 8,500 RPM you can really feel it through the foot pegs, especially for some reason on the left hand side. I find it through the bottom of my foot, and it really is quite a sharp buzz. When you're touring though, most of the time you're not up the top there actually wringing its neck. You're using the low down power, that tractability where it's got the torque. So most of the time it isn't a problem. It's only if you're having a bit of a spirited ride and you're diving through the bends and you really are sort of ringing towards the red line in every gear that vibration does become a bit of an issue. Not only does the V-Strom have the biggest engine here, it also has the biggest presence. It feels like a big bike, and that's partly to do with the fact that it's got a 19-inch front wheel where the others have a 17-inch front wheel. But it's also heavier, and altogether that creates a sensation of a much bigger bike than it actually is. If you were downsizing for something larger, it wouldn't be too much of a culture shock to move down to the V-Strom because it still has that big bike appeal to it. The suspension really carries that bulk well as well, making the V-Strom always feel really planted. You've got upside down forks at the front, a rear shock with adjustable preload. Adjustable preload is kind of mandatory pretty much for a tourer, so that you can fine tune your rear suspension to changes in weight, again whether you've got a pillion or whether you've got luggage. And as well as the shower upside down forks, it's got 4-pot radial brakes as well, and they really do a great job of bringing it up to a halt. They're nice and progressive, and as with the rest of the V-Strom, I've made quite a big point about it being heavier than the other bikes, but it's not intimidating in any way. It's a really nice bike to get on with, and all that extra bulk, if you like, of it just makes it feel that much more dependable and friendly and easy to cope with. The forks as well have adjustable preload, and they also have adjustable rebound damping, so that gives you a little extra element to play with if you feel the need. But all in all, it comes back to how confident this bike feels. When you're tracking through turns, it stays nice and planted, nice and confident. You always know where you are with the V-Strom, and the saddle is a really nice place to be. And talking about the saddle, it's a one-piece saddle for rider and pillion. It's nice and soft, there's quite a lot of give in that foam, so you settle into it straight away, and as soon as you're sitting on the V-Strom, you're pretty much set up for big miles. It's a nice wide seat, you've got plenty of room to move about. The stitching's all neatly done so that you won't find that there are any pressure points or anywhere that you're going to get chafage or anything like that on a long journey. And all in all, for rider and pillion, you could ride from here to Paris and not worry about it. So let's talk about wind protection. The V-Strom has got a fairly substantial screen. It's adjustable, but you do need to break out the Allen keys to do that. So although the screen does create some buffeting, it does have a big surface area, so you are pretty well protected there. Worth noting that it doesn't have handguards though, so your fingers may be a bit exposed when it gets a bit colder. The TFT dash is really nice and clear. It displays all the information you want in full colour. It doesn't have connectivity though, so there's no way of bringing up sort of maps or music or anything like that as you can with some of the other bikes. However, it is clear, it is concise, and it does let you know exactly what's going on. The switchgear is quite basic, but that's fine because you can see where everything is and you know what it all does. But what's conspicuous by its absence is cruise control. Now, on a touring bike, cruise control has almost become something that's a must-have. If you're coming down from a bigger bike to the V-Strom, then you might find that the lack of cruise control could be a bit of a deal breaker, and it's not available as a retrofit either. The V-Strom makes a really solid option if you're looking to downsize from a bigger bike. It still retains a lot of the presence, a lot of that size that you'd associate with a bigger machine, yet it's far more manageable, far more easy to live with. It's still got enough power to keep you happy, but with a price tag that's going to be roughly half, it really does make sense. However, for somebody looking to move up from a smaller bike, the Triumph might actually make more sense. So the Tiger 660 is the smallest and lightest of the bunch. It's got the smallest engine too, but that little triple is a real gem. It takes a lot to rev it, but it sounds fantastic. It's got a real turbine-like buzz to it, and it's equipped with a quick shifter as well, so you can really rip through the gears on it. It's got 3 rider modes, and it's also got lean sensitive traction control as well. Worth mentioning, lean sensitive ABS on the brakes too. So although it is the smallest engine, it isn't the least powerful, yet it does feel that if you had a pillion or you had full luggage on board, that it might just struggle a bit to pull the whole lot along. Fueling is really good, and as a result, throttle response is really good as well. So this makes this engine really easy to get along with. It's not intimidating in any way, and it's just a real pleasure to twist that throttle and fire along on it. As I mentioned, it's got lean sensitive ABS, but you'll notice that the caliper on the Tiger is of the floating type, unlike the fixed radial calipers on the other 2 bikes. As a result, you get a different sensation through the lever. So we've mentioned that it's got all these lean sensitive electronic rider aids, but essentially this is a really light, easy, nimble bike to ride. Yes, it does take a little input to get the best out of it, but you'll find that it's flattering and confident through turns. The Tiger's slightly smaller stature comes with a slightly more compact riding position. As a result, if you're anything over 6 foot, it can feel a little bit cramped. I'm 5'11" and I'm right on the cusp. Doesn't give me too much room to move around. Although that long flat saddle looks like it's got a lot of room, you're actually a bit limited if you're a taller rider. But apart from that, the seat is nice and comfortable, although it doesn't have too much room for a pillion on the back. In terms of wind protection, it's got a height adjustable screen. Simple one-handed operation, unlike the V-Strom where you have to break out the Allen keys. Much like the riding position, it's fine if you're within a certain window, but riders above a certain height are still going to feel some buffeting and turbulence. It's got a clear and concise TFT dash and full connectivity, so you can link the bike up to your phone using the Triumph app. So it looks like Triumph have listened to MCN and given the Tiger cruise control for this year. So just a simple on-off operation by a button on the left-hand switchgear, but if you're on a long journey or going through a stream of average speed cameras, that can be a real boon. The Tiger is the smallest and most manageable of the 3, and therefore it's probably the best bike for somebody who's looking for something easy to get on with. It's lightweight, and that super smooth engine delivers all the power you could want without being intimidating, yet it does need extra revs if you want to get everything out of it. And as a result, it may not be the best option if you want to carry a pillion and luggage. And that takes us neatly onto the last of the 3 bikes on our test, the Yamaha Tracer. The Tracer is powered by the 689cc CP2 engine that has been around for years. It's been in lots of different bikes. It's still as much fun as ever, if a little bit softer than it used to be. It's quite vibey, but that's more characterful rather than bothersome. And it's got a fantastic exhaust note too. For this year, it's got ride-by-wire throttle, and that means that Yamaha can give it 3 different engine modes, and there's a 4th customizable one if you want to change the parameters yourself as well. And in addition to those engine modes, it's also got traction control. What it doesn't have though, which the other 2 bikes do, is a quick shifter. However, there is one that you can fit as an option for an extra £188. The trade-off for that lack of quick shifter is of course the fact that it's got panniers, it's got heated grips, it's got an adjustable screen, it's got a comfort seat, it's got a centre stand. So Yamaha obviously had to make a decision somewhere on what they weren't going to fit, and they chose the quick shifter. Also new for this year are the radial brakes. Now, although they give the Tracer plenty of stopping power, they do lack a bit of progression, so they're almost biting as soon as you hit the lever. And compared with the other bikes, it just takes a little bit of subtlety away from the Yamaha's braking. It does of course have ABS, but it's a simple twin channel system, unlike the lean sensitive ABS on the Triumph. Despite its GT moniker, the Tracer is actually the sportiest handling of the bunch. It's quite a firm ride, but that's not to say it's unstable, because Yamaha have tamed its slightly flighty attitude with a longer swing arm, which gives the chassis more stability. So although it feels sportier, it's still very stable in turns. As with the other 2 bikes, the Tracer has a remote preload adjuster for the rear suspension, and it needs to be dialed in correctly. It's actually quite sensitive, and I found the bike just to be a little bit skittery, a little bit choppy to begin with, but once I got it dialed in, it was nice and smooth and confident again. Wind protection on the Tracer is really good. It's got an adjustable screen like the others, not quite as easy to adjust as the Tigers, but far more easier than the V-Stroms to adjust. It's got a simple lock system, but it just needs a good yank to get it into the up position. I find with my height that when it's in the low position, it really is a bit of an eyeball rattler. The wind turbulence just kicks off the top of the screen and hits me right on the top of the helmet. But when it's in the fully up position, I'm just inside that cocoon, and it's just much more comfortable. I don't get any of the turbulence or buffeting, and for me, it works really well. We've got this very fancy looking comfort seat that's got this kind of veloury, velvety finish to it. It looks really swish, but it's actually quite hard. And you find that it's quite narrow as well. I feel a little bit like I'm sitting on a stack of books when I'm riding the Tracer. Even though it feels firm, the longer you ride on it, the more comfortable it seems to get. So from an endurance point of view, it's actually a pretty good seat, and it's height adjustable as well. So that just gives you the opportunity, if you've got longer or shorter legs, to fine tune your riding position. So the Tracer is also the only one of the 3 that has got the combination of handguards and heated grips, so your hands can always stay nice and toasty on the bars. The Tracer's also got fancy new switch gear, including this neat joystick on the left thumb for navigating menus on the TFT dash. It's also got a nice big rocker switch for indicators, which was a bit weird to get used to, but I now prefer it to the traditional push button switch. And it's also got cruise control with up-down adjustability, and that gives the Tracer that long distance practicality. The 5-inch TFT dash is full colour and has got 4 different modes, so you can choose how you want to display your information. And it's also got full connectivity with the Yamaha app for whether you want it for navigation, listening to music, or managing phone calls. The Tracer 7 GT performs really well as a touring bike, although it is a bit sportier and a bit firmer than expected. It lacks a little bit of plushness, but personally, I can live without the plushness for all the various touring accoutrements that it comes with. Overall, of the 3, I think it's the best looking bike, and also in terms of finish, it just has that little bit extra that the other 2 don't. Although it feels sportier and the engine is a lot of fun, it is down on power compared with the V-Strom that packs much more of a punch from low down. And when it comes to the Tiger, it does lack that little bit of lightweight manageability. So all 3 bikes have given really good accounts of themselves. They all fit the bill as a middleweight tourer that can do the job, and they all fit the price point as well. However, there are a few compromises to bear in mind. Take the V-Strom for example. If you're looking to downsize from a bigger bike, it still has the presence and the substance to give you that feeling that you've been used to. The only issue is it hasn't got cruise control, and that may be a bit of a deal breaker when it comes to touring on this machine. If on the other hand you're moving up, the Tiger may be a better option. It's lighter weight, it's easier to live with, it's the most manageable of the three, and it's got that really spirited, fun triple and a quick shifter as well. This is a bike you could really grow into. The downside, of course, is that it's slightly more diminutive in stature. So if you are a taller rider, you're going to struggle to get too comfortable on it, and if you're looking at doing distance, then that could be quite a big deal. And that, of course, brings us to the Tracer. So of the three, the Tracer has just enough of everything to give it the widest appeal. For both the rider moving up and the rider moving down, it's got the panniers, it's got a centre stand, it's got the adjustable screen, it's got heated grips, it's got just about everything you could want from a mid-sized tourer. And if you splash out the extra cash on the quick shifter, it makes the Yamaha a tough act to beat. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe. And you can, of course, check out MCN both on the newsstand and on the web.